Welcome back to another episode of Jedi Academy. I'm the Smithie D, and we're back again with some live interactive questions. So, with me joining today, we've got Ranger. Ranger, do you want to say hello?
No, but since you asked me nice, I will. Hey, everybody, what's going on?
How are you today, Ranger, on this Saturday morning? You got your coffee ready?
I've got my coffee, I've got my protein, I've got sugar, I've got all kinds of man made concoctions to get me awake and alive and through the stream. So we're good to go. Bring it on.
Let's do it. And we've got a newcomer from Shattered Order, and that's Wink. Wink, if you want to say hello.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
How are you today, Wink?
I'm doing pretty well. Struggling a little bit this morning, stayed up too late, but glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
No problem. And is Warrior with us today? I haven't heard him yet.
Of of course. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Awesome. I had it on mute like I was told to do. I'm a good boy.
Good, good. So, how are you today? I know it's even earlier where you are, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 8 a.m. It's not bad at all. I got some coffee in me and I'm ready to do this.
And we've also got Bella. Bella, did you want to say hello to all your fans?
Hey, I found the mute button. Great.
How are you today, Bella? Because it's going to be late afternoon for you now, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got my coffee, double
Good,
portion coffee, because it got late for me as well.
good, good,
And yeah, I'm fine. I'm here.
good.
I hope there's good questions coming up.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited for it. But unfortunately, we don't have Grande Patron with us today. We don't know if he's been again for his kind of like internet or what, or he's out getting milk again and he just lost his way.
I think it's a birthday party actually. His son's birthday.
Shh, they don't need to know that.
Yeah, let's be honest. It's his criminal activity.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's not try to cover for him.
yeah. So,
Great.
So we've already got our first question in, so we're going to jump straight onto questions today because there's been a lot gone on this week. There's a lot of new content, and I'm sure there's going to be questions about it. So instead of us discussing it straight off the bat, we'll let you send in the questions to us. So how that works with the questions, if you can give a constructive question where we can then discuss it, like, I have this in my team, I need that, who should I go, A or B? What's better for me? I do this, I have a rebel squad, etc., etc. Instead of just giving a one-way answer of a yes or no, it needs to be kind of like an open question, so we can give you kind of our feedback as best as possible. So the first question that we've got is from Lucas. He has a Wiggs rebel team with Lando and Sumfak. Who should be his fifth character, but he doesn't currently have Han ST Stormtrooper Han. So who wants to take this one up?
I'll take a shot at it. So it was Wiggs with who?
So he's got Wiggs, Lando, and
Uh-huh.
Sunflack, and he's wanting to know what would be the best fifth character for him.
Right. Stormtrooper Han would be a good one. Shore Trooper would be a good one. I actually prefer Shore Trooper now because you get that taunt in immediately. And you could also go the route of maybe doing Shore Trooper and B2 and keep your Wiggs and Lando intact, and that gives you two taunts. Two taunts with Wiggs and Lando is always a really, really good team, unless they've got B2. You have to kind of rethink your strategy. I'm not a big fan of Lando anymore because of some of the counters that come with him now with B2 and Short Trooper. I think your best bet if you are going to run Wiggs and Lando is Stormtrooper Han's always great because especially if you can get his speed up because you get that turn meter with Sunfac as well. If they're doing AOE's, you're going to get that counter from Sunfac. I just preferred Short Trooper because you can get that crit immunity, but that's a nightmare to farm. So you probably could do both because Stormtrooper Han's in PvP or the arena reward tokens. I can't think. The coffee hasn't kicked in. God. And you could also be forming Short Trooper at the same time. You probably get Han faster than you will Stormtrooper for Short Trooper. So you can do that kind of combination. So it gives you a little bit. The two tank with those guys is great because you're protecting Wiggs and Lando.
Yeah, that's a great answer, man. Is there any input
Well, I
anyone else
try.
wants to put in?
Yeah,
Well,
This
I
is
mean,
where
I
war
would definitely
destroys me.
say,
Go for it.
I would definitely say he needs to work on Stormtrooper Han for sure. Something else is with those three guys, you already have three attackers and a tank. I would kind of look at who you're facing in arena and maybe go with a support character, something that just helps those guys with survivability or gives them turn meter or something. Like Rex would be awesome in just about any team now that he's somewhat farmable. Um, I would probably lean towards some sort of support character.
Mm.
You could go with Bubba Fett or in that team, or a Jedi Knight Anakin, maybe.
Yeah,
so that's what
Anakin's
my
great
thought
because he
was.
gets
My
all
thought
that,
would be My thought would be actually Boba Fett, and this is why you can make Boba Fett really, really fast, so that way you can assure to go first with Boba Fett, even faster than Wiggs if you do it right. And then you're facing probably. And by the way, hi Lucas, I know who you are. I know you're probably facing a bunch of auto taunts nowadays with you. You know, people are using literally Baze or Shore Trooper, and that's throwing a wrench in your triple mollywop that you get from your Biggs double combo. And so if you had Boba faster, you'd open up with that ability block potential, but you could use his execute to get rid of that and use it as a dispeller, a really, really, really fast dispeller. So that way it would clear the path for you to then target the next player you want to and do your Biggs double shot combo, which is going to make it a 4-5 game. And you don't have to worry about that auto taunt. So I like Boba. He's just so versatile.
Yeah,
I think he works in every team. He's an answer for every question, I think.
Remember
He
the
is.
the,
He's
the
nice.
A team. If you have a problem, maybe you should hire Boba Fett.
That's right.
Do you like your coffee black or with creamer? Boba Fett!
That's the answer to everything.
Yeah.
What do you want for breakfast this morning, honey? Boba Fett. What? Wait, I don't know what that is. That's
what
right,
do you want for
Boba Fett.
dessert? What do you want for dessert, Boba Fett?
Boba Fett. You don't love me anymore. I want a divorce.
Okay, so Bella, have you got any input on that?
Impact. Yes, she does.
Yeah, sure.
Every time she speaks, angels get more wings. That's just how gracious she is.
I think you should put Darth Bella on the team.
That's right.
Okay, we'll
No,
move on to the next question then.
Yeah.
Right. Let's have a look. So there was a question again from Lucas. Is the stream starting for any of you? Yes, Lucas, it is started. Thank you. So let's have a look. So we've got the question here from Phil. Do you think the Savage Zeta is worth it? And then I'm probably going to focus this more towards Warrior. Warrior, you probably know more about the Savage Zeta than many of us, maybe?
You know, I got mad flack for liking Savage's rework on the internet. Everybody's like,
Why?
"What? Are you stupid? He's the worst." Blah blah blah. You know what? This is the deal.
I don't think it's the worst.
He was probably before this. I don't care what anyone says. He was probably the biggest turd when it came to all the Sith. And the individuals who were using him were just loyalist fans that love Savage
I can name one.
Exactly, but at the end of the day, they know, they're
Infinity.
lying to themselves if they didn't. He was bad. This rework makes him very viable, especially in a Sith team. That's really the whole point, right? And so, I love it. And I was just theory crafting with the Savage the other day and talking about how, the extra durability, specifically if we have all these Sith teams pop up out of nowhere and these Empire teams pop up now like they have been, what happens is now you've got a bunch of kind of squishy teams that are really, really overpowered. And if you can get just a little more durability for your team versus their team, then that might be the deciding factor in the battle. And so I was theory crafting he might be a fun leader. Of course, I got crucified, metaphorically speaking, on the internet for saying that. But that was just a theory craft and just an idea. I like it. I think he's cool. And sometimes I'm counter meta. I'm like, let's just do what nobody else is doing. I think Savage has a place. Would I personally Zeta his leadership? No. Probably not, because there are so many Zeta abilities, and it seems like every time I Zeta something, I have regret. So, I'm gonna probably be slow to Zeta things in the future. I'm really sad right now because of my Jin Urso. I Zetaed her with that 5% protection recovery, and then of course now they're making it where protection means nothing again. You guys know about that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're all like, boo, if you had, Cody or Jin or anybody you've wasted Zetas on. Now it's like, well, we're just not going to worry about, taunts or protection. We're just going to go around that, which is what actually made him so overpowered, is because it's taking the game back to what it was before protection. And that's dangerous. That's a really dangerous combo. You die with full protection, you only have to get to 0 health.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen that with the new characters that they're able to bypass the kind of like house side of things. It's interesting. It is interesting. Has any of you guys used or seen a Zeta Savage other than Warrior then? Because
Nope.
no. Okay. So
No.
he looks cool, but he definitely is going to need that sort of team around him. He's going to have to be built. I see Mike use him. So Mike's normally in here and he normally uploads videos. And he was using him in his Darth Maul team. It looks good. He was hitting hard, and I believe he had him Zetaed. So the only issue is with Zetas is you probably have to fully commit to your team. So it's not about having just one Zeta leadership. You're gonna need to have 4 Zeta characters behind them. If you're trying to make that kind of like ultimate squad. Or that squad, but
Yeah.
because there is so many metas and there's a counter to A and B and a counter to C and E, anything can change. We could get a Jedi rework, for example, next month that kind of then just throws all these Zetas that you've put on your Sith in the air. So it's a forever
And then Jedi
changing
Knight
game.
Guardian is overpowered, Jedi Knight Guardian will have a thing that she throws her AoE and everybody on the other side loses 100% protection.
Yeah. Let's have a look. So let's have a look. So have you tried out the Assassin yet, Warrior, at 7 stars?
The Sith Assassin, I got to use her this morning. I'm actually producing that video right now for today, where you get to use her. She only gets to level 82 gear 10 for the usage, but I think Sith Assassins very interesting. I liked how she gave turn meter to the whole team, and she can buff herself quite a lot. And then those buffs, she can just consume them to do additional damage. And she hit pretty hard. I was noticing she hits between 8 to 12 on a basic, and between 15 to 25 grand on her special. And that's kind of what everybody else in the new meta is hitting for. So I think she's definitely not, I wouldn't say overpowered, but she's definitely a good support character in a Sith team.
Cool.
Yeah, me and Smithie were having giggly flashbacks to the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic when all these characters came out. Like, oh my god, they copied them perfectly.
I think I was actually saying that. There were some people saying that it's going to be the Sith Towel Boy. Just as a joke.
The Sith Towel Boy. All right, I need to take a shower.
I think I was saying Sith Trooper. If it was generic, it was Sith Trooper and Assassin. They were the only ones I could think of that they would have brought out. And then
there's so many more they could do with the Siths. I mean,
Yeah.
if this is where they're going, which I really like, of course, me and Smithy want Revan. First, if we had 3 wishes in the world, first me and Smith would wish for $1 million, and then we would wish for Luke Skywalker, Jedi Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi, and then third we would ask for Revan. I think in that order, Smithy. Now, of course, I get 80% of the money, and Smith gets 20, but that's a different subject.
Okay, cool.
But maybe it's light side again, because we had 5 dark side characters. Before that, 5 light side, so maybe light side again.
Well, the meta shifted in the Force. It's gone very dark.
Yes.
Like what my kind of like ideal thing would be, and because they've mentioned that they are going to bring out Yoda style events, so that is something that's going to happen. So I am wondering that would Jedi Luke be in one of those events, or would he be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Him and Revan. That's how they're going to release him. I'm sure of it.
They have to.
I completely agree.
Yeah, so that's good. I'm happy with that because that could be sooner than later with all the dark side that they're releasing now. They're gonna have to bring some balance back. The only way to do that is bring in maybe Jedi Luke.
Yeah.
And they could be adding all these Sith to use as the character class that you need to get either Jedi Luke or maybe Revan.
Yeah, I would imagine that you're gonna need Sith for one of them, and that's why they're kind of like adding on. Yeah, no. So we've got a question here. Who's really good at starships in here?
Ships, I love ships.
Yeah.
I do ships every day, all 5 of my battles.
Okay.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I buy more battles just for fun.
Yeah, you know, these junkies
Right,
been
so-
schooled my ass.
So the question that we've got is, how do I best use, this would be Ahsoka Tano's starship, front row or reinforcement?
Front row.
Well, yeah, it depends. Well, it depends sometimes
I
on the
agree.
ship you're facing. I do not use her front row, but she's support ship because I'm using still Akbar. So I want as many assist and ships that can give me the target lock so I can get taunt off Biggs. You know, sometimes though, like if you're facing like a Mace Windu ship where you know that taunt's gonna be out there, you may want to switch your lineup up so you can get Ahsoka Tano in there because you know, especially if you see their lineup and it has Plo Koon and some of those other tanky lineups that people will run, yeah, then you definitely want her in your front lineup. So you have to be able to adjust and move the pieces depending on the fleet you're facing.
Definitely.
You know, so the more ships you have, the more flexibility it gives you.
And plus,
I actually do the same.
whenever reinforcement comes in, so it's nice to have her out there in the beginning.
Yeah, no.
It-
So
either way works.
I don't use Ahsoka Tano. I just go all out DPS. It's just all or nothing.
But you can do too.
That's it.
She's the only female captain. I love her. So I have her on my fleet, of course, and as was said before, I swap either reinforcement or front row depending on the other ships and the capital ship, of course. She's really good in front row, but sometimes she gets killed right away.
Can I tell you guys that as a person who does not use Ahsoka Tano, who is suggesting Ahsoka Tano, can I tell you it's because I'm always finishing #1 on my leaderboard for ships, and there is only 2 people in the top 5 that rotate through. We all kind of share the #1 spot. There's only 2 people in my leaderboard that I have trouble with. Both of them run Ahsoka in their initial lineup, and the reason is I've got this amazing master plan, where I'm going to use Biggs or my Sunfac, whichever, and I'm going to drop Darth Maul's stealth ability where they get retribution, everybody else gets stealth and hits harder, and then they're going to either, if it's Sunfac, he's target locking the whole team, and if it's my Biggs, he is never dying, and he's just laying down mad destruction on the other team, and that's my master plan. Inevitably, when they have Ahsoka on the lineup, I try to set it up, and the moment I get it set up, she foils my plan, and I'm like, no! So, I mean, as a person who doesn't use her at all, I know she is literally my biggest adversary as far as ships go. They're the hardest teams for me to beat because she foils this huge master plan that I'm building. My whole team is built around a specific strategy, and she's the anti-will strategy, the anti-warrior strategy. So I definitely think that she has a place, but I think that she's way more viable on the front 5 to foil that plan because it takes some time to bring in reinforcements and things like that. So she's real imperative to the initial game plan in the first 2 minutes.
Cool. No. So
It's a good point.
definitely a good point. Solid point. I don't use her. She's still sitting at level 70. I just try and drive through. I'm only hitting at the minute. I've still only got a 5-star TIE fighter pilot. Because I was one of them people that went after ally points hoping I could get a head start on tournaments and then they take them away. So I haven't got a 6-star TIE fighter ship yet, but I'm close. I am close, and when I do, when they get it to 7-star, the tables will turn, and at last we will have revenge on the starships.
Smithie D will reveal himself.
I will
to the
reveal
jungle.
I use my TIE
We've
fighter
got a
pilot
new ship
at
with a dispel
5-star.
too.
What was that? Sorry, Bella?
Kylo's ship.
Yes,
Yeah,
we did.
Kylo's ship has a dispel. So it will be interesting to see how that works.
It will. I guess my only issue, like, if I don't currently buy any packs or anything like that, but if I was to buy a bundle, I would want to know that they're farmable, or I can buy more packs, not just to get just a 3 or 4 star and just sit on it for like a month. Because in Arena, you want to try and level your ships up as quick as possible. So I don't know. I guess sometimes that's the issue, is you could buy a bundle, but you never know a timeline of when they're going to be available that you can then pick the rest of the shards up.
Well, I think now we have a cadence. I think we're going to know that in 2 to 3 months, you're going to be able to get anything farmable, because that's their new cadence that they're going to shoot for. I think there's going to be some growing pains the first couple months, but after that, I think it's going to be pretty consistent. So I think if you get something, you're going to be stuck with it for 2 or 3 months, and then you're going to be able to farm it. I got it only because I want to be able to showcase it on a video at some point, but I'll tell you, I've been leveling it up, and it's kind of underpowered at 4 stars. So I've been telling everyone don't buy it, which is funny because they're like, well, you bought it, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And it's like, oh, stop with that.
You have to have first order with that ship to make it work.
I'm trying to make videos and stuff, and so there's times when I make a silly investment because people need or want to see that kind of gameplay, and currently I'm still lacking in being able to have access to some of those things in the future build thing that they're trying to give me access to. So sometimes, I spend money when I shouldn't have, and then the good thing is sometimes people can learn from my mistakes. So
Cool. No, definitely. I haven't. Yeah, no, the ship looks cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to be a while until you're going to see 7 stars of them running around anyway. So, and
it's a lot of turn meter
Mm.
stuff, like turn meter on nearly every ability except for basic.
So, Warrior,
I
I've
don't
got a
even have Death
question
Vaders.
that's from me to
Go.
you. Okay.
Mhm.
Millennium Falcon. Is this part of the
Yeah.
cadence? Well, cadence, sorry.
I would hope that everything is, because that's what it was basically put out as, is that everything is going to have a 3-step turn. It's going to be this evolution or this turn belt of sorts that everything's going to go through. So it sounds like from now on, everything's going to be released as premium, and then you're going to have to spend money or get it at a really low star rate, and then you can spend the next 2 to 3 months gearing it and things like that if you want or not. But after a couple of months, it's going to go to, or after about a month and a half, it'll go to the chromium packs, which isn't much better, but it is a little better. And then for the people who are used to those price points, they can buy in then. And then for anybody else who's free to play, it's just another 4 to 6 weeks after that, and you can start to farm it traditionally. And from what I understand, basically everything in the game is going to go to this cadence. So, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not CG, I'm not EA, but that's what the cadence sounded like. It's their way of giving us a timeline. So the good news is as free to play, if you were to get Sith Assassin anyway, even if you got her to 7 stars, you're good. It's going to take you 3 months to gear her up. So she's not even going to be viable for 3 months for you anyway. So just disregard the stars at the moment and gear her, and if you really like her. And then by the time you get her to gear 10 or 11, you'll be able to farm for those things. So I think the cadence is amazing because it really plays into a free-to-play's hand really well. They can, basically have this. Yes, does it put them slightly behind the curve? Of course, but it always has been that way because people who pay money get access to the characters early. I mean, that will never change in any game that's mobile. But at least this way, free-to-play, no, they don't have to wait 7 or 8 months for a particular premium character. They know it's farmable in 2 or 3. So I really like the new cadence.
Okay, yeah, no, it is really, really good. I do like it. But we're going to move on to the next question because I'm sure there's going to be more questions on that subject being thrown at us. But the next one is, what are the best Zeta teams? Who's running a Zeta at the moment?
I am not, but I am particularly looking at Vader and Maul. Those are the two because I'm farming Zetas now. So Maul with the Sith lineup really, really intrigues me. I got to tell you too, a guy from Team Row, they are running a resistance team with Zetas, I believe, and they are wrecking people with that team. If you have resistance, you may want to look at that, because he was showing me all these videos of him just wrecking like full Vader teams, because resistance, once it gets going, holy smokes, is that team pretty potent. I didn't even realize, with some of the changes, if you have the full lineup, that good lord, you can put some serious damage out very quickly with that team and just dominate. But me personally, I'm looking at Maul, Zeta, and then forming a Sith team, because I'm tired of playing Wiggs.
See, what I would
I
probably
only
say...
use Barris.
Carry on, Maria.
I just use Varys. That's it. She's unique, so she can be on any team.
That's
So I
true.
just throw her on. That's the only Zeta I use on my team right now.
Oh, I'm in the process. Well, when I say I'm in the process, I've pretty much got it there to build a deadly team. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But with the Zeta team, I would probably say that mods are your biggest thing, because you need to have speed. So you're going to need to have it, ideally, because of everything that's gone on with these kind of like corrections and fixes, that you want to have a really fast Darth Sidious and a really fast TIE Fighter pilot go first, get those dots that exposed, and then you're pretty much gone from there, because it's then going to remove that turn meter from the team. So that's where I'd probably focus. Boba is great to have in the team, but I feel that if Nihilus is coming into the play, you may want to step away from Boba and go with more Nihilus, or not go Nihilus at all and keep Boba. But it is about that opening speed, especially against most teams or other Zeta teams. It's who's got the quickest TIE Fighter pilot and Darth Sidious. If you can get that two consecutive turn meter down straight away, then it's going to really be beneficial for you to get all those dots down, to then start trying to then control the battle from the start. And it works great on defense as well. Anybody else would want to put in on that? Any input? Or
Oh, I have a theory craft idea, but we can save it for later. But it's a pretty wicked idea. I think you guys are all gonna like it.
yeah, no, we can do some theory crafting. If someone asks us a theory craft question. What is wrong with my speech today? Probably ill again. So we've got the next question.
It's not the sauce.
What? Okay.
He said you're on the sauce.
Right. Next question.
I'm Jedi.
Next question that we've got is from you. Do you think Darth Nihilus' Zeta can be used against Barris Zeta because of the non-critical hit? So that would be his leader ability. Yeah, because they're not going to be able to crit as a team. They're not going to be able to get that heal. They're going to put dots down and stuff. Have you looked into, kind of like, as anyone, shall I say, looked into Darth Nihilus deeply? Looked into his soul to see what operates him?
Superficially, not deeply. I can tell you that there's so much like critical hit immunity and things like that are now kind of coming out to counter all the critical hits, because everything's critical hits now, right? Everybody's hitting for crits, and everybody's doing critical chance, critical damage on all their mods with speed secondaries, and so everything's hitting for just a crap ton, and that's great. But that the offense is always a very safe place to be with mods, but also just with the kind of the new meta of all the new characters people are using because of all the critical hit immunity and whatnot. So that is a very interesting take that they've created with him, because he's going to make it where any of the newest characters that have been OP, they're irrelevant at this point. They're just going to lay down a very heavy blanket of base damage without him being critical damage, and you're going to see this new evolution of people being able to bypass protection, so that and health is always way less. Protection, people will stack 40,000 protection on a character and they have like 16,000 health, and they're like woohoo. But if that's a moot point, you're gonna go straight for their health. And that also brings me again to my theory craft. I gotta be quiet until we have time for that.
Okay.
Well, I have an idea kind of regarding Nihilus, not necessarily against Barris, but using the Zeta Barris with Darth Nihilus. Because he turns all that protection into health, they're going to have a larger health pool, so that if somebody does crit them, that 20% health gain is going to be substantially larger than it would be on other teams.
They can't be healed. They can only be healed by
they
health
can't.
steal.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that shoots that idea down then.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Well, I was also
Yeah.
thinking about that as well, because sometimes how these things are worded, you could easily understand it wrong. It says they're immune to healing effects. And I've always asked before, I've gone out and says, oh, you should be getting some heal immunity characters against this. Before I actually go out, I want to test it before I say to everybody, go and use healing immunity. That will be your answer, because they could be immune to it. Because it's not worded, it just says healing effects. So that could be both anti and the ones that it's describing. What is your take on
Well,
that?
that's kind of. Well, I was just gonna go down the road of the whole healing immunity, the way they changed the healing immunity debuff. I don't know if that's gonna apply to shock as well or not, but the fact that these characters are not gonna be able to heal protection,
That's true.
they're kind of really trying to get away from the health recovery. It seems like, or trying to make it less usable.
Sure, but even under a Nihilus lead, you'd still put your protection mods on, wouldn't you? Really, over the health, because that's going to all get converted anyway. So it's still going to be, you're just going to fill them up with protection.
And
it's a great way of getting a lot of health with him, is just to add a bunch of protection, knowing he converts it. So, man, that'd be tanky.
Barris would still maybe be useful with Nihilus if she's not Zeta, just because her heal does bypass health, health immunity. So I don't know if that health still would affect her, transfer of health.
I guess
she regulates health, so that would work for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Wuriel, how do you know with the leadership? Would you say, by looking at it, that heal immunity will work, or it wouldn't?
Say that again. Heal immunity in what reference?
Nihilus's kind of description says that pretty much that it says that it's immune to healing effects. So
and that's healing effects, not the opposite. So it would only apply, in my opinion, the way it's built or coded was the intention of anything that heals, not the anti-heal. So I don't think it would go for healing immunity type things. I think it literally will only apply to any, because the whole point, the intent behind it is they're not going to be able to gain health in any way, shape, or form except for one way, and that's health steal. And then they're going to have this massive pool of like 60, 70, 80,000 health steal or health, and then they're going to hit somebody and get 70 to 150% of that or whatever, 140% of that. And that's where it's like, oh my God, they're going to get 20, 30,000 health potentially, or whatever on a friggin' hit. And it's going to be kind of like Kylo's protection recovery that he gets. It's just crazy. So that's what I see it as. But I could be wrong.
Because if it is healing immunity, then it's not going to be too difficult to take a team down like that.
Right. So I think it's just simply the healing aspect of it, the good side.
So that's where I'm waiting before I can make a decision. I want to test it in case the description's slightly wrong. For example, Nihilus's description on his ability Drain Force, where it reads that it's going to be per cooldown, not per character, but it's actually per character. That's effects that reduces Annihilate.
Yeah.
So that's where I want to make sure.
It's all of their cooldowns for each character would be increased by 1, and so each character, that affects, it's going to reduce his. So if there's 5 characters across the way, he gets a cooldown of 5 off the 8, making it 3, which is nuts.
That's it. But sometimes how these things are described, you can easily read it differently because it's described wrong.
Yeah.
Right, so we're
or like the stormtrooper that was just flat out written wrong.
Yeah. Look at that. Let's have a look. Right, so what's the counter meta for all this dark side stuff going on? Hopefully Jedi in a month's time. We'll see you then. Anyway, we're moving on. No, I'm joking. What's your guys' thoughts? The counter, I would probably say it's to join the dark side.
Yeah, that's one option. There's some Zeta teams in my arena with a fast TIE fighter pilot, and I've kind of been using Rex as a counter to that because he'll cleanse, give potency up, and give turn meter to everyone. Rex also works pretty well against B2 if you use somebody with an AoE before him, but I kind of think he's the best solution, or a really fast Yoda. You can, even if you don't have Qui-Gon Zeta, you could use him with a lead and then throw Yoda in there. If you can make Yoda super fast, because by doing that, you can get Yoda out in front of just about any TIE fighter pilot.
I would say it all comes back to the Rex meta, and as a Rex as a leadership for that turn meter from the crits. Because generally, if it's not against a Nihilus kind of lead, all the others are pretty much crit based. If you look at Mol Zeta, all their attacks are going to crit from the start because they all start with advantage, or the Sith do. So he's definitely the ideal candidate to make as a leadership to counter it. Then you could always go with Wiggs. You could also go with other teams, but I think Rex is the real kind of like leader that's going to be the counter for all this kind of like debuffing stuff and crits.
Yeah, and I actually have a video that I'm going to be doing, so don't you be stealing this idea out there, everybody. But it is an actual anti-meta video, and it's actually one of my guys who's in my Patreon. Him and I have been talking. He actually came out with a huge outline for meta-resistant farming, for who to farm to go against the meta. And there's just a bunch of characters that play into this, from Boba Fett, TIE Fighter Pilot B2, Sunfac Rex, Royal Guard Palpatine, Rey with Zeta, IG-88, Asajj Ventress with her Zeta, Barriss with her Zeta, Fives with his Zeta. I mean, there's just so many really great characters that are going to work really well against all the characters that are very, very popular right now. So there's a bunch of options, but some of the best that are most popular or most well known are, of course, B2, Rex, TIE Fighter Pilot, Boba Fett, Sunfac. Those guys are always going to be staples. They're like, great characters, have been great since the day that they came into the game to today, and they'll continue to be great.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for that video idea, Warrior. I'll see you later, mate.
Yeah! Die!
Good, copious notes.
You give me all the details, and I don't have to do any research. Cheers for that, buddy. No, I'm working on something big at the minute myself, and it's still going to probably take me a bit of time to build it, but most people, most doesn't know what it is. But it's just basically, I'm building this big, giant survey for this game, and it's about who is the most iconic character you want to see, and there's going to be about a choice of like 150 characters, and you're only allowed to select one. Then I'm going to create a video of the top 10 of what everybody has chose. If I can get like 20,000 people to then do this kind of survey, put it out on the forums and everything, put it everywhere, then that's going to be great.
Okay, I'll do it 20,000 times, Smithie. You only had to ask once.
Oh, cheers, man. Just make sure you click Jedi Luke, because I'm sure, there's someone big up at CG who's probably going to, see this video. No, I'm joking. There's lots of characters on there. We're talking Knights of the Old Republic, so there's Revan. We've got Legends characters like Kyle-Katarn, Mara Jade, everything. All the iconic ones I can think of. They're all gonna be on there. So it's gonna be a pretty cool video, and it'll be fun. Right, so let's have a look. So is there any input else that you want to talk about the counter meta before we move on? Bella, have you got anything? Ranger?
No.
I see a few still run a rebel team, but so it's like a top 10. You have 2 to 3 rebel teams still in the top 10 from different shards. I've seen that. So what I see is that people mix. Actually, they don't go DS or light side, but mix some dark side characters to and have rebels in there. So it's not like fully dark side or fully light side team.
It's just grey. It's in between. It's grey.
Yeah.
It's not dark
Balanced.
side. It's not light side. Cool.
Yeah.
Right, we've got a question here from Nick. Do you foresee this crazy Nihilus health steal lead being the future meta, or a speedy Darth Maul lead being more popular? Who wants to take this? Warrior, do you want to take this one, or?
It's definitely Darth Maul. I mean, there's just no doubt about it.
Thanks,
I don't
Randy.
know. I think there's a huge push for everybody. Everybody's wanted Nihilus, so I think now that he's out, he's going to be tankier. He's going to have some really unique aspects to him. So I think it's going to be. Well, all I know is over the next 3 months, all you're going to see is Darkseid characters in the top 10. So that's kind of that'll be fun since we've had so many light side characters for so long. But I don't know. It's going to be a tough mix. There's so many people that have tried Darth Maul and kind of just still feel like meh, even with the Zeta. I have a Zeta Maul and I don't run him in Arena. I put him in with a great, amazing team and I fall like a rock out of the top 10. And who's beating me is a bunch of Empire teams. And so it's like he doesn't hold. I mean, he's maybe great against Jedi or Rebels, but it's just not as good against Empire teams. And they just know how to pick those types of teams apart. So I don't know. I'm waiting to see Nihilus and see what he brings to the table realistically.
Yeah, because my theory craft is quite a crazy one. I've done a couple of them. Then last night, as you do, you're lying in your bed, and normally you close your eyes and go to sleep. What comes into my head was, ching! I could make a team like that. Oh yeah! So I started theory crafting in my head. Didn't go to sleep till 5 a.m. because I was just thinking about it, going around like the roundabout. Do 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 do. If you guys know what that is, it might just be a UK thing.
They have medicine for that, Smithie.
They do, but it's illegal over here. It's not legalized, so I can't take it.
It is in Colorado where I'm at.
So
Imagine Smithie on an alternate substance. So, guys, I was just thinking.
Fairy craft. It was just like
yeah.
So I was there last night, and as you do, trying to get to sleep. And I already had this theory craft of the Darth Maul. Then I thought, you know what? Let's go one step further. Let's be dirty in the arena. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have a Zeta Darth Maul as the leader, as you do. Followed by that, I'm going to have Darth Sidious Zeta, as you do, because I want Darth Sidious to go first, to put all them dots down, that expose. Then, with the speeds, because you're already getting 20% turn meter, so you're dividing your speed and timesing it with that 80%, so it's like times 1.25 to increase your speed of what the actual stat that you've got. So then I thought, I could actually send Darth Nihilus after Sidious to go for to go for the Force Drain to increase their cooldowns straight away off the bat. So he's going to go after Sidious. And then I'm going to have Darth Maul that's going to come in, do his days and do his thing. But next to him, I'm going to have General Kenobi and a Zeta Barriss. Boom!
That's just bastardly.
Interesting.
Yeah, that team you would go into PvP and I'm done.
It's like, who do you attack? Do you want to go after my Nihilus? Do you really want to? When you've got Barriss there and General Kenobi, then he's going to go into stealth and it's going to force you to attack others. Barriss is then going to keep taking off this buff. She's going to cleanse. She's going to heal. Then you've got General Kenobi. It's going to be crazy. It would be one crazy team to face. And I thought, yeah.
So the anti-Nihilus is going to be a stun team. Stun him. It doesn't matter how awesome he is if he's sitting there in that back position frozen to death. That's stuns are going to be more important for him for sure, so that way he doesn't get his turns.
Expose is going to be pretty big against Nihilus leads too.
Expose would do a lot of damage. So would Darth Vader Zeta. I think, in theory, that a Darth Vader Zeta would actually tear apart a Darth Nihilus lead with all them dots. All them dots are just going to really hurt all that health because it's a percentage of the health that it damages.
Yep.
You just keep putting dots and dots and dots, and then if you're ruining Boba...
More dots.
Yeah, so that's where I'm not really scared for the Darth Nihilus because there's already meta stuff around that's already going to be able to easily counter it with all that turn meter reduction. I don't think it will have a chance versus that team, but I could be wrong.
He might be able to take one of your characters out with his Annihilate, but by that time your Boba Fett is, whapping him for 65k, and Darth Vader's doing a 70,000 Culling Blade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's where I don't. I don't see, but you could flip it the other side around and you could run Darth Nihilus with a Vader Zeta, which is probably going to be better than a Nihilus lead because you're getting that turn meter reduction from TIE Fighter pilot straight away. So, and then you're going to ability block them with Boba, or you could go in with Nihilus. So I think overall, it's either going to be Zol or Zeta would be the two main teams you would run with Nihilus.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So check this out. A Resistance team and a Sith team using all the Sith that do direct damage to health, and using all of the, like, Poe, who does expose. So you expose the other team completely, and then you hit directly to health. Not only are you going to do a lot of health damage, but expose does 20% health. So you're going to take out 50% of their health, in like one shot. And then you're going to end up only having to do that a couple of times. So if you have a multiple Resistance, expose, and then Sith doing direct damage, it's especially now with the new theory crafting of directly attacking health, you could just directly attack health like that. And if you built it that way, it could be a pretty fast battle.
Definitely, and this is where it's interesting with having Sidious. If you Zeta him, he's quick anyway. You want to go for that expose, put him in the Resistance team. He's quicker than Poe. Boom. He's going to get that expose from his AoE. Bang. Resistance Trooper's then going to get 100% turn meter. Then, bam, and it's just going to be all clockwork from there. Be pretty deadly to face. Just have Sidious instead of Resistance pilot. Be good.
And, again, Rex... because that's special that takes 25% of their health.
Yeah. He's going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, the only thing about Rex, his 25% of health, so it is 25% of his health, but it doesn't actually come off as their health. It comes off their protection, which never made sense to me. It always felt like that was broken. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but when he does that special...
Exposed does the same thing, I believe, though.
No, well, yeah, exactly. But... actually, I don't know. But anyway, they should be fixing those things. When it says it does, X% of health, it should be going directly off of health.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
That's going to be quite deadly if they change that. The arena would be over quite quick, wouldn't it? Change who's the kind of main game players on there. Right, so we've got a question from Thomas. Is General Kenobi game-changing? He is close to unlocking him. I believe he says that he's got all the gear to take him to Gear 11. I can take a lot of characters to Gear 11 instead, and he also has a Gear 11 Shore Trooper. So what would your thoughts be on that? Most of us in here may have General Kenobi, and maybe half do and half don't in this chat, actually, within this kind of like where we are in this chat. I've got General Kenobi, and I haven't got an auto-taunter, so I can only speak on the side of if you don't have an auto-taunter, then General Kenobi is definitely going to be that kind of help to you, because auto-taunters do help in this game now, and they seem to be that's what you need to have. And General Kenobi is great for that. For when you take a hit, he's going to taunt, he can cleanse, he can do lots of stuff with his kit. But Warrior, who do you prefer, or anybody else that's got Baze or Shaw, who do you prefer? Would you prefer to have General Kenobi or Baze or Shaw? Who wants to go first?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I'm conflicted. So
we were just
really, really difficult.
We were just talking disruption meta, right? There is no better character in the game right now for disruption meta other than General Kenobi. If you have him or about to unlock him, get him, use him. He's going to become more and more vital over the next few months. And this is why he's a disruption character. Not only does he take negatives and make them positives, so he's going to do that. Aside from Vader, Zeta, everybody else, he's turning their game plan against them by making health downs, health ups, and things like that. Plus, he can give retribution. There's nothing more wicked than a whole team full of retribution. Plus, he's a cleanser, and you're going to need multiple cleansers. I see in the future. I run multiple cleansers now, so I got 3 cleansers on my team to hold the top 5 spots. So he's a cleanser. He's so versatile. But disruption meta is big, and so when you try to crit somebody, they get critical hit immunity. and then he taunts, and so that's disruption at the finest. I mean, you're trying to take someone out, and now you're forced to go after General Kenobi. And if you do an AoE that crits everybody gets critical hit immunity, and you got to go for him. And now you can't hit people hard, and you're forced to go for him. And then it drops, and then Barris is healing. And he's such a disruption character, and he's so versatile, and he's a cleanser, and he hits hard, and he's got high. This is the other secret. When, armor penetration, how hard they can go through the other character's armor. He's in the top 5 characters. I mean, Chirrut is up there too, but he's up there. So when he hits for basically what he's intended to hit for. The armor doesn't compress his hit nearly as much as other players. So General Kenobi's a heavy hitting, dispelling, meta disruption character. He's just an all-in-one great character. He's a Jedi. Come on, we got to have a Jedi in there that's still meta, So if you can get him to gear 11 and you're about to unlock him, do it. You'll never regret that decision.
He may be viable before gear 11 as well. I mean, there's nobody that has his skill set, like you said, with the auto taunt, the retribution, foresight gives offense up, the crit immunity. I mean, he has so many abilities, and the cleanse. Like he's kind of like Boba in that he can have a place on just about any team.
Yep, totally.
Well,
you know what I
that is
do?
gonna have to be my last part. I'm about to have to go.
Yeah, so
unfortunately,
where can we find you? So where can everybody find you if they want to check your stuff out?
Our YouTube channel is Shattered Order. We're on Twitter at Shattered Order, and you can find our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud. Shattered Order podcast.
Cool. Now you do a podcast. Is it every Friday?
It's usually Friday. It wasn't this week. It's usually Thursday through Saturday. One of those days we try to get it out. It's usually an hour or so long, and we just kind of talk about whatever the update was for that week, and then we kind of have a main topic that we go over and discuss.
Cool. Oh, thanks for coming on. The link for his channel as well is in the description. So if you do want to check that out, subscribe to his channel. He's uploading quite regular as well.
Yep, been doing that a little bit more. And if you want to find out how to beat Galactic War with 2 characters, go check it out.
Yeah, awesome. Is that going to be with Kylo Ren?
All right. It may be. Yep.
I know that.
Well,
you
Smithie,
like
I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on.
It was fun.
Yeah, man. Catch you later.
Take
buddy.
care, guys.
Right, let's have a look. So we've got a question from Alex. This is a Savage question, so I'm going to point this over to Warrior's side. We're going to pass it to Warrior. Can you explain how defense is calculated in this game? What does Savage leadership means? Defense maxes out at 75%.
All right, so you're talking about one of the great anomalies of the game that has never been fully disclosed. There's some shadow veil around this. There always has been. But basically, there are certain... When you go to your stats screen, there are certain stats that are defensive stats that when your defense goes up either by points or percent, it actually affects multiple defensive stats. And so it's making your team more durable and things like that. But defense is still to this day one of those things that when you try to get information on for them to clearly articulate exactly how it applies and things like that. Because I mean, you can see you get a defense percent boost, and then you look at your stats, and it's like, what happened? I see this, and this kind of slightly went up, but it's not. It doesn't seem like it's equivalent to what it should have done. So it's difficult because we don't fully understand because it hasn't been fully disclosed. But I mean, if you look at any character in the game, not one character in the game has the kind of boost that he provides. And defense is important because it's a part of the armor. And so your armor is one of those defensive stats that goes up. And so most characters, we're not talking about General Kenobi or Chirrut, but most characters are stopped pretty easily by the armor of a character, but most characters don't have very high armor. When you do defensive mods, defense, things like that, you raise that durability of every character, and then the majority of who you're going against they aren't going to be able to penetrate that armor nearly as much. It compresses all of their damage. So I think that it's an underrated stat. I just wish we would know exactly how it applies to that, but there is, some, like I said, some shroud over exactly how it applies to all those defensive stats.
Definitely. Well said, man. Well said. Couldn't have said it any better. I would have just probably said that it's your defense, your armor. That's how I always understood it. It's your armor rating, then the percent is then the increasing of the armor rating. That's how I understood it, but it's never been officially kind of said. But from other games, that's how I'd understand it. It's your armor rating. Then when it says you've got those mod stats plus 16%, and it doesn't actually go up that high, it's because the armor rating is X, Y, and Z. Where the lower the number, the less percent impact that's going to have. Even 100% on a low armor could be lower than, say, 5s, for example. Because I know Finn's got some really high armor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know anything else past that. And I don't even know if I'm right on that, so I try and not talk about that, unfortunately.
The first rule of armor: we don't talk about armor. The second rule is we don't talk about armor.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I just know that armor does what it says. Defense is something to do with the armor, but it's never been cleared up, so I don't talk about it. Because I'd probably be wrong. When I presume something, I'm like, yeah, it's that, and that it's probably not. I'm just like, yeah, it sounds like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. But normally I'll just say if I don't know, I don't know. I don't know. So we've got a question from Lucas. Are Baze and Sharut going to be free to play 3 months after they were released, or 3 months after it was announced that the characters will be free to play after 3 months?
That's the plan. I don't see why they would deviate from that. They could change their mind, but I would think so.
Yeah, it's probably going to
They
take a
just
little
dropped-
while, isn't it, to get into it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they dropped all of them into Chromium, so we're halfway through that wait list. So it's 4 to 6 weeks from now. They're going to be farmable.
yeah.
But what about Baze? Because Baze has already been in the Chromiums a lot longer than Sharut has.
Yeah, they're probably going to stick to him with the cadence of the other characters. Like I said, there's going to be some growing pains at the beginning. I can't speak for them, honestly. I'm just guesstimating. But he came out at the same time as them, so I think they're probably going to try, because they said when people drop, they're going to drop together. Like they talked about Director Krennic and Death Trooper, that they would come out together into Chromiums, and then from Chromiums farmable together. So I can only assume that since he's been in an alternate form of farming, that was just a benefit, or who happened to be able to get him those that way. So 4 to 6 weeks, I think all the rebels that came out, the 6 rebels or whatever, Biston and Chirrut and Baze and Cassian and K2SO and all that, I think they're going to drop into farmable nodes sometime over the next 4 to 6 weeks, and then everybody can farm them. So that's pretty cool.
Definitely. Let's have a look. So the next question that we've got is from Goba. How far should I gear characters that I need to use for mod challenges to 3-star on? That is probably a hard question. It depends.
Gear 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get away with having like 3 of them gear 8 and 2 of them gear 9, but you really need your weaker ones at gear 9 and your tankier ones at gear 8, and then you should be able to pass the 3rd level. I did that with pretty much every one of them.
Remember, I had my Jawas. I think I had them mostly 7 stars, so I couldn't really comment on that. I know that I got good RNG in it, and it was like really good against Darth Maul at the end. To 3-star it, but the other ones I think I did when we had God mods, so I just flew past them, just put the God mods on them, and it did the job. When it was all kind of like you could crit at 100%. Let's have a look. So I have a question, and this is from Monkey. Do you think it's worth my time to farm Resistance and Zeta Finn?
I would have said, yeah,
Yes.
they're a deadly ass team. I'm telling you, when I saw those videos from Martin, I was floored. Like, they are destroying this Empire team. They are destroying the Sith team. I mean, they just wreck with Rey's. Oh God, yeah. Resistance. Do not sleep on them. They are a pretty potent team.
Yeah, no, I think the thing is what we all have to remember that Episode 8 is going to be coming out this year, and the kind of like Resistance is still the Resistance. It's not the Rebel Alliance in Episode 8, it's the Resistance. So we're going to see more Resistance characters, and the same as First Order. Don't know who they'll bring out, but if it's anything like the Rogue One film, then we're going to see a lot of characters, and it's going to be like a Resistance and maybe First Order meta kind of work over. So there's just going to be more characters, I guess, to add to your little factions of what we've already got at the moment. So yeah, I would farm on based on that alone. What about you, Warrior?
Oh, I think that, they're overlooked by pretty much, the vast majority of players in the game. They're like, wow, we only got them up to whatever gear 8, gear 9 to get those mods, and yeah, they got reworked, but now there's Empire, and now there's Sith, and so it was so fast that I think a lot of people just overlooked them and said, let's just move on to Empire and whatnot. But honestly, when we're talking counter meta, I mean, Resistance really is the counter team to the Sith and to the Empire. So you wouldn't be unwise to do them. I mean, really, to get them leveled up and geared up. And like you said, you may only have 5 characters right now to level up in Zeta and all that, but those 5 characters together are a very powerful and very usable team in many areas of the game. So if you did that, if you went all in, now I get people ask all the time, okay, should I give up on Empire now, or should I give up on my Rebels now? I'm going to move on to Empire now, or now I'm going to move on to Sith. And it's like, stop. What they're doing is making every faction viable. Pick a faction you like, stick with them, gear them up, star them up, get them, crazily modded, and then use them, and they'll be fine. I mean, you could take a First Order team against Empire and do well.
Absolutely, absolutely. With the rework they did, holy Jesus! First Order
You
would be
know,
really good. Harm is hard as hell to farm, but absolutely.
What
but
what
what's
I would
funniest
wanna.
is
Oh, carry on, Warrior.
I was just going to say what's funniest is Rebels were probably the strongest for the longest time, 4 months or so, and they were just killing it. And they're still viable. I still use a Rebel team for the most part, with 3 Rebels, but it's still one of those things that they're probably now going forward going to be one of the weakest because there's so many new characters focused on destroying rebels because there was so much hatred towards the rebels that everybody wanted stuff to beat it, and so they built characters to beat it. So I don't know, but I still like my rebels. I'm going to continue to use my rebels.
Yeah, I think Rebels will. It ultimately they'll be back once everyone's able to get a 7-star Sharut. Once he's farmable, everyone's got base. At the moment, I guess the issue that you've got is Empire is more free to play. The Sith not as free to play, but you can obtain them at the minimum requirements to use them. Rebels, on the other hand, is that you've got Sharut, and most didn't get him. And that's the thing, from the tournament, of that one tournament, it was only if you top 100 that you're going to get that 3-star, or if you brought any packs or anything after that. So I think things personally will start changing once he's more mainstream and he's more that you can obtain him and base, because people then may have gone after Shaw or farming Shaw. There's a lot of free to play at the minute that don't have these characters. I don't even have a base. I just didn't. I decided to go after gear instead of going after him in the shard shop. Probably one of the biggest regrets that I've done. But I'm not bothered. I got General Kenobi now, so I probably wouldn't use him because I have no Sharut. I have him at 3-star sitting there. But once he's
You know,
farmable, I will get him. Carry on, Bella.
um, I've been listening for a bit now, and I think you have to distinguish a bit between fully upgraded players who have this or that character on top. They have the gear, they can bring them to gear 11 quite soon. And then you have people in the middle. I'm not even talking about people starting the game. They don't have all those characters, and I think it was a bit confusing the last weeks, all these events. You needed Evox, you needed Javas, you needed Night Sisters, and you needed Resistance, and now you need First Order. So it's kind of difficult for players who don't have all those characters upgraded. And I think it's quite good to say at one point you should focus. You should focus on your arena team. You should focus on what you really need to keep your rank, and what is fun for you as well. Because if we have all those new characters, I mean, I don't have all the gear to upgrade the new characters, so I'm a bit careful. I might upgrade one and then the next. I think everyone needs to have their own plan.
Definitely, the arena is the most important thing, then followed by the AAT. These events, I wouldn't go out and break my back over
No.
new characters for them because the return investment's quite low on them. Unless it's a character that's at 7 stars, for example, or you're getting some good wad of stuff for it. But if it's only a few shards, you could farm them shards. As, you know,
Yes,
they're all farmable shards.
and I love ships, so I usually farm the pilots. So I've got a few resistance, a few of this and that. So everyone has another focus.
I guess the funny thing that made me the humour to the kind of the events that they're released is it requires a certain faction to be highly geared. Warrior, you couldn't even beat the second one like me. Is that correct?
Right, and I think the problem with a lot of the players, I'm not trying to be derogatory to any player, but I want everybody who's listening to this to change their mindset. The game wants to have high-end, high-level events for every faction.
Mm-hmm.
They don't expect or even want you to be able to compete and do every single one of them every single time. What your mindset needs to be is these are all events that are reoccurring. They're going to happen over and over and over and over and over again. So you get to play them. What's cool is you get to play it and lose. Now I know what I need to do to beat it. And you can choose to put that on hold and continue to wait until it keeps coming back over and over until the day is that you're focused on them. Or maybe if you're a higher level like me and you realize you barely lost, you're just losing an 8 and you know you need it. Maybe that's the next Zeta I do, so the next time it comes around, I can beat it. But the mindset of every event that comes out, everyone should beat every event every time is a fallacy. These are designed
Absolutely.
to be challenging, to be fun, and not everyone's going to beat them. And like you said, I have a very strong roster, and I couldn't beat the second tier of that last challenge, and that's okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's
Not
one of
me. I
them.
went to my room and cried for 3 days and had a crying game moment. That was just me.
Yeah.
It was either that you needed to have, I think it was like
You're-
4 Ewoks all pretty much maxed and Ray, or a Finn Zeta to beat the last one. It was
Yeah, you had
round
to have a
about those
Zeta of some
ones.
sort.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anyone beat it without a Zeta. There may be, but I didn't hear of anyone.
I didn't either.
Don't get me wrong. I think that's totally cool to have these kind of events. But just for the medium level players, it's good to know that there's something like for in 2 months, maybe not now.
No, definitely.
Exactly.
I guess,
As you said, that's a perspective for the future, and it's not. We don't need to win all those challenges right away.
Right.
yeah. It's like, I guess the irony as well that if you've got a Finn Zeta, okay, and the irony of this is if you've got all these characters and you've geared all these characters up for this event, and you know it's going to take you some time, you'll probably have all these separatist shards by the time you've got all this stuff to beat every single one of these events. You will probably have the shards that they're dropping.
Mm-hmm.
That's the irony of it. Is great events, you're getting that achievement, you're getting that Vader shards, but by the time you've probably geared it up for all these separate events, you're probably gonna not need them shards, and it's just about the achievement of overcoming it and
Yep.
wanting to do it, and that's what it boils down to. I think I had every separatist shard in there, but I still wanted to beat it because it's a game and I like a challenge, but I wasn't able to beat the second tier. But I'm already on my resistance, and it wasn't for that event. It was for the AAT I'm doing my resistance, and for when they drop the Millennium Falcon. That is pretty much what I'm kind of waiting for. So if you are doing a resistance, think of it on the ways that you want to be doing it for maybe the AAT, use them in Phase 2, or make your team up so you can use them in Phase 4, or go a completely kind of like different route with them, so you're doing that. Don't just do it for one event. do it so you're going to make sure you're getting your worth from who you're gearing. How many characters has anyone in here done cup? Geared cup up?
How dare you, sir? All right, the stream's over, everybody.
Warrior, you must have
I've
done
got
cup.
Coruscant Underworld Police, 6-star, working him towards.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah, working him towards 7-star. And
do you have Ugnaught gear 11 and 7 star?
Ugnaught's gear 10, but no.
Oh my god.
Cup is at like I think 5, gear 4 or gear 5. All my characters are gear 4, 5, 6 or above. Because that lower level gear, by the time you've played for a year, the lower level gear you've got so much of. Everybody that you have unlocked, you've raised to gear 5 or 6. That's just because you're using the gear you have.
Warrior, when you use Cup or you're trying to do anything with him, gear him or anything, do you get that not so fresh feeling and feel dirty afterwards?
Yeah. And Cup is a girl, right? Cup's a girl.
I don't know.
I have no idea. That the armor kind of hides the fact of what it is. Maybe it's.
I've been told.
I don't know.
I've been told the Coruscant Underworld Police is female because I referred to it as a male, and I had multiple people tell me it was female. I don't know. I don't even care.
It wasn't
but
resistant
I don't.
To pilot.
Yeah, I haven't actively gotten Cup up in gear. I just, when you passively have a bunch of excess gear, you use it, and so I haven't actively gotten it up very high. But I am trying to get all of my characters to 7 stars, so I'm actively farming in every store and everything, just trying to get everyone 7 stars just to do it as an achievement.
Just in case that event comes around where you need Cup.
Maybe the
something. Well, of course, that Underworld Police is just one of the I've got 8 characters left to get to 7 stars, so it's just one of the characters on my list to do.
I guess it's like a trophy, isn't it? Because no one really does it. So you're like, yeah, I've got gear 11.
To be fair, I mean, the store that Coruscant Underworld Police is in, I think it's the Arena store. I have every other character 7 star out of there. So what do you do with the currency? You either get some credits, or you go and you farm an unusable character. So I figured, whatever. I haven't needed the credits as much as I used to. I think they've done a much better job of giving us credits. Now, I say this because I get credits from AAT a couple times a week. I get it from the Rancor raid. I get it, 3 times a week. I get, credits from the credit heist almost every week, and that's 5 million, minimum. So I'm pretty happy with the credit situation. It was way worse, a year ago, 6 months ago. But yeah, Cup is being worked because there's nothing better to do.
Just save your stuff for when Assassin and other characters come out. Don't do that, Warrior. Come on.
All right, we're gonna move on to the
someone's
next
got
question.
to.
This one's a good question. I like this question. I like these questions. What are your top things, not characters? So this is not including characters. You want added or removed from the game?
Let's start with Cup. No, I'm kidding.
No characters.
Oh, you never know what a character.
So I guess it'd be features. Features, or what do you want to see changed? What would you like to see added?
Well, there's still a lot of characters that are not viable that they need to rework, right? We talked about this on the stream on Wednesday. We were pretty impressed.
They did a good job of arresting Ahsoka.
Well, no, I mean, but the characters that they've reworked have been really, really good. I mean, you can't really look at any of them and say, well, that was not a really good rework. They've done a good job of identifying those characters. I think there are a lot of characters out there that are just not viable, that just, we don't touch them, so there's quite a lot, I mean, for example, Clone Wars Chewbacca, characters like that you just don't use.
Maybe change him to Rebel Chewbacca, then it just solves it.
I know, but I still think that they're reworking a lot of characters, and I do realize that it takes time. But I do identify and give CG credit for going that route. I think they've listened to the feedback and they've made changes to characters like Dooku and Savage that they just did recently. I mean, we were floored on Wednesday. We're like, what? Looking at what they could do, we're like, wow. And then, our minds started to twirl with all these possibilities of what you could do with these characters. Sidious is another example. So, I mean, if they keep going the route that they're going, with reworks like they did for Jedi Anakin or some of these other characters, it'll be good because it just gives you more flexibility with your lineup. So even characters who I'm not a big fan of, like Cup or Ugnaught. If you're going to be in the game, at least make them work, viable to be used somewhere where they have a purpose.
Well,
and they're doing that.
Yeah, they really are. And, I think that was one of the biggest complaints we had a while back. It's like you had all these characters and it's like, I'm never going to use this character. And then all of a sudden they start doing all these reworks and you're like, who can I use now all of a sudden? So it'll be, as long as they keep going down the path that they are, I think it'll be a good thing.
Yeah, so I would just say really quickly, I think the question is geared. It said no characters. I think it's QOL, like quality of life type updates that they were talking about. So I really can't speak on this. Yeah, I can't speak on this because there is some exciting stuff coming up soon to quality of life updates. Sure. I know that Jesse mentioned it, and I'm under NDA for that. I can't discuss them, but you guys can. But yeah, I think what they're talking about is like speeding things up, or changing how you can get bronze impacts up multiple times, or whatever things like that make it more efficient in the gameplay, specifically like making gameplay more efficient, making it faster, more efficient, better characters to farm, things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
The quality of life stuff.
Yeah, so
I have two things besides characters, and that one thing is bring back mod packs. I really need them. They were linked to the.
You could always move to Japan. I heard they have them for 999 crystals.
Yeah.
999. I've got a screenshot, and but they are not here. And the second thing I would love to have is a fleet war, similar to Galactic War, but maybe a little bit shorter, like 6 nodes. Because I think galactic battles are fleet battles are longer, so we don't need 12 maybe, but that would be a good opportunity to test your ships.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of things. I want to start with the quality of life. And I do have a couple of things after that I'm going to throw in as ideas. But I believe the quality of life is going to be that you're able to do a team select. Hopefully they're going to do it with mods, but a team select that you've already got on predetermined. Yeah. So when you have the raid, like I've seen on the whole new videos, they've got all the top secret all over, the new buttons or something, or the new features.
Cough.
So so that's definitely the reason why it has top secret is because it's hiding something, and it's not because it's top secret footage that they're showing you. But that's how it looks like to me. So I think.
Well, we could tell you, Smithie, but then we'd have to kill you. Well, specifically, Warrior would have to kill you.
Well, he's under NDA, so he can't tell anybody.
That's right. That's why the death comes in, all right? And we don't want Warrior killing anybody because we need him on the show, not prison.
Right. So what I'd like to see going forward is new features, a gear shop. Yes. We need to trade in all our excess waste of gear that we have hundreds of. We need to have a mod selector where we can take off one character to another where we don't have to mess about. I'd like to see Galactic War, that you can now decide to sim the battle. Okay, so hear me out on the sim. It'd be like if you've ever played like Football Manager, where you can sim it, or you sim a battle and you have so many chances that you're going to lose characters, and you could sim it and you could lose 3 out of 5 of your characters, and you're like, oh no, what have I just done? Or you could just battle them, give you the choice that you can sim it with the potential that you're going to lose a character or two, or lose the entire battle. I think that would be a good, if people have big rosters and just want to get through it straight away, that they could just sim, and that they don't want to do it, and then there's anybody that wants to do the battles or wants to take the risk for the sim. I think that's a good idea. That would be cool. Or credit events. But with gear.
Also, those are great. I would also like to see stuff where you can upgrade stuff immediately. Like if your gear, instead of having to go level, you can go up to say gear 6 if you have all the pieces. Okay, I'm gonna take this tune to gear 6, right? Or like if you're doing mods, instead of same concept where instead of having to keep hitting the damn button, you just go I want to take this to level 12. I've got the credits. Let's see what it turns into, right? And it just does updates the stats. I think those kind of features across the board would be really nice, where you can just automatically pick a level or gear level or something along those lines would be really cool. those are something I like to see. So you can just know, you can just automatically, when you get like a new character, you're like, okay, I've got gear 8, put it on. And it just automatically updates to that gear level from your supply of gear, and you can automatically just do it instead of have to put it on, upgrade, put it on, upgrade.
Yeah. I've seen someone as well ask about the, as an idea, they posted on the forums about a mod reroll, where they're able to change the stats of their mods. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, yeah, maybe you pay for it. Maybe you don't like the stats in the mod, but you've got the credits, and then you can just. That's actually a really good idea.
Be definitely great for the free to play as well, to make it more kind of like as an engagement, because it's hard to get mods. If you aren't buying the packs, it's really difficult. I don't know how some people get all these god mods from the kind of like store, from
Refresh
the actual
store.
shipments. I never see them. Hardly rare. And then seeing a mod and then actually upgrading it and getting something decent that you want from the mod are two different things altogether.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah. Do you think that they'll ever change the arena times for individuals?
That's an interesting concept, because one of the things we had talked about before is, that they're set based off your time zone, a set payout time, right? And for some people, it's just not viable, right? Because of either work or life commitments, right? What if, they could change it? I don't know what the answer to that is, or how they could work it to where your payout is based off a certain time, or you could change your payout to a different time slot. So if you are an Eastern, let's say you work the late shift, right? And you can't, or you work a late shift where you can't be there because of work, you can't get your payout, that you can change your time zone to, say, like, Western time zone in the US, to where you can be part of that payout, so that you have a chance to, be able to do arena and stuff like that. I think that would be a really good quality of life, and make PvP a little bit more viable for some people, because real life does come into play, and I think that would be a really fantastic idea.
What about you, Warrior?
I guess I thought I heard the question is, are they going to change the times, as in like change it from 5 minutes to something else? And so I interpreted the question differently. But I don't think they're going to change the times as far as like 5 minutes or 7:50 for the ships. I think they're going to leave those the same probably. But as far as like moving the time, like you're talking about, which I think is probably what the question was actually asking, I just didn't interpret it that way.
I thought you'd crush me again, Warrior.
I don't know. I don't think that that's a bad idea. The only thing is collusion. So what would happen is you could talk to all your top 10 shard mates, and everybody could pick a different time zone they like the best, and then everybody gets number one, and then there's less competition. And I think the whole point of arena is competition.
Well, there's collusion already, Warrior. Let's be honest. I mean,
collusion ends at a point, because I've got payout as me, and he hasn't been competitive in the past, but now he's hyper competitive, and he can beat me every time. And so now him and I are having to snipe each other every single day, and it's a pain in the butt. But it's competition. It's kind of the whole point. And if him and I were able to work it out, he'd probably, one of us would move to another time zone and solve that problem. But then it makes it less competitive. And I guess that's the whole point of arena, is competition. So I don't know.
I disagree, because even if some people move away, that's going to bring other people up. There's always going to be a competition for that top spot. But I don't think that's going to go away. However, I do think for some people that have no shot whatsoever, right? Because just when the payout comes, they just can't do it. I just think it'll give more people an opportunity to at least have a chance, regardless of whether people move time zones or not. They still have to get number one. That's just a part of it. You can collude all you want, but even if you had 10 people go to 10 different time zones, there's still other people in those time zones that are just happy with it, that are still going to be shooting for number one. So I don't think that'll really go away, but I think it'll give people that, with real life is, things going on, that they can get, at least have a chance, instead of being not in the arena whatsoever, because they just can't do an hour before, or their battles mean something now again. I actually think it'll create more competition.
I think we are not talking about changing your time zones every second day. It's like once
Right. You can only do it, I would say, every 30 days or something like that.
Yeah.
It'd have to be a locked in, all right, you can do this once, but you can't do it again for 30 days. Right. So you can't be flip flopping around. Once you make that decision, it's set, and then you're stuck with that for 30 days.
That would be
Interesting
good to know.
concept.
Yeah. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
Okay, so what we've got here, we've just got a question pop up. I don't know what's actually gone there, but it says, "Thanks for all your great videos. Assassin Voice Protection, Taking Half to Savage per Hours." So let's have a look. So what is your thoughts on this? Assassin avoids protection, taking health to half, then Savage, overpower, then 2 shots most heroes. Yes, we've had some theorycraft on that, and that in particular is a great combination with the Sith, is where you could use the Sith to drop the health instead of protection, then you have Savage come in and do the kind of special, and it would work, but the issue again all comes back down, and this is where it really comes back down, is to how the AI uses Savage. And that is probably the big issue, and it depends where the assassin is hitting. If she starts hitting all over, then it's going to take away that kind of advantage easily, because when you're controlling her, you'll hit the one character, then you'll use Savage, but the issue is the AI will not use her like that, and potentially could be using it on difference of characters that have full health. I don't know how the AI is going to work or if it's going to be changed. What's your thoughts on that, Warrior?
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I think sometimes the AI plays it properly and sometimes it does not. I don't know about the new characters, how the AI's positioning is on all of the abilities. The AI is pretty good about being tenacious and going after one character and not just shooting all over. They've definitely kind of reworked that in the sense that, they pick a target and kind of work on that target if possible, to make the AI. So potentially the AI would, pick on a particular character, and if they got it down below 50% and Savage was up next, I think it would work out. But I think it's easier, obviously, during offensives to set that up and knock it down. And that's a great combo. But again, you would have to it'd probably be something really, really great offensively, but defensively probably wouldn't hold as well.
Definitely. And I guess that's the issue where it comes down to it. It's kind of like that team where you're using an unofficial combination to make your own synergy. You need to control them. When the AI controls them, it's going to be as far as the unofficial, as far as it could get, because the AI will probably use them wrong. And that would be the problem. I would say on offense it's great, and it's going to be a great fun to especially go for that, but I don't think the AI will use them in that manner, and it could go really horribly wrong on defense. Let's have a look. So the next question that we've got, and that original question was from Brian, so it was a great question. But we've got the next one, and this one comes back to Jedi, which I'm hopefully are going to get a buff sooner than later. So what we've got here, Ben Kenobi. Do you think he will get a Zeta ability? Because at the moment, no one actually hits him. What's your thoughts on this, Warrior?
I guess I would want to know what you guys are thinking about as a Zeta, like what
Probably
you would want from him.
I would probably say a taunt. I guess that would be what
Yeah.
you'd put on old Ben, because he did taunt Darth Vader to the position to kill him, so Luke did see.
So I would say, I mean, if you're looking at him as a character, his original ability was what? Evasion, right?
Right.
Creating an evasive team. So I would say have the Zeta just improve that to like 50% evasion for your team, just to make it hyper annoying.
I'm sorry. I just had the image in the game where all Ben taunts strike me down. The character gets hit and just turns into a robe. It's one ability, one turn. I taunt. I am now a Force Ghost.
Imagine if no one actually geared him as well. It's all
Right?
a trap. It's a trap.
You know what? That's actually an interesting concept. You could have the Zeta ability say that the first time anyone takes a critical hit, he taunts for the rest, or he taunts for one turn, and then after taunt expires, he goes stealth for the rest of the encounter.
Mm.
Mm.
But then you'd have to give him some other cool ability because you don't, you wouldn't be able to kill him. And the whole point in the past was to kill Ben to give everybody the buffs. So maybe when he goes stealth for the rest of the game, those buffs are applied to everybody at that time. So now you're like, well, crap. He goes stealth, so I can't kill him, and he gives everybody the buffs earlier on in the battle. And he's a Force Ghost as stealth, essentially. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah, I was just doing it for comedic effect, but Warrior, man, being the pimp that he is, just took it and made it something amazing.
Well, if he's in the battle as a Force Ghost, you must face him alone. I cannot interfere. And he just stands there until everyone else is done and just rebuffs the squad or something, but he can't attack. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if the animation just dropped his clothes to the ground and he was gone, but he's still present.
Oh man!
Fighting a robe on the ground. The robe just like slides across the table.
Oh, man.
You don't even see it hit you. You just see your Savage take a hit and fall back. And then the robe slides back across the ground.
Oh
Right,
God!
Speaking of Jedi,
That's funny.
how do you beat a Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn?
One hit at a time.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
You just focus on one character.
Yeah.
Just focus on one character. And I mean, the first time you go, you're going to whiff, and then you go to the character again and just work them down, and then everybody gets Zeta again. That's okay. Go to the next character. First hit's going to miss, and then the rest of them are going to hit, and you just keep working them. Defensively, they're easy to kill, in my opinion.
They are.
Offensively, they're phenomenal. Offensively, they're just defensively easy to kill.
Well, yeah.
I use a bunch of AOE's, so
That makes it easy.
Yeah, AOE's just they don't land, but they clear all of those.
And then you focus fire one. It's that
Yeah.
I would go with a TIE fighter pilot followed by B2 because TIE fighter pilot's going to go, they're going to evade it. Or you don't have to use TIE fighter pilot. You could use Sidious in there, but you want someone that's going to do an AOE. They're going to miss. B2's then going to go because they've all dodged it. So he's going to get like 100%
How is that B2 again?
Oh my God. It's like we're playing Army as kids.
But yeah, I play the game with no music, so I have to make my own sound effects sometimes.
So Smithie's sitting there, but you just imagine sitting there.
We're outside.
He's like, all right, Darth Vader attacks. Here comes Vader.
You might not see it on my videos because when I record, I mute it, so there's no sound to it. But every time I enter the battle with Kylo Ren, I'm like, Kylo Ren. That's imagine that. I've got my girlfriend sitting in the front room, and 12 times through Galactic War, I go, Kylo Ren.
She's like, what have I attached myself to?
No, I love making my own sound effects for games. Just have it on silent, mate. It's quite funny. You should try it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yes.
Oh, I do. I just don't tell people.
Yeah. That's something I admit publicly.
Especially when you go in and you got Darth Sidious and you've got Maul Zeta. At last, we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last, we will have revenge. And you're against the Qui-Gon Jinn Zeta. And he's just there mopping them up, one hit, and then they're gone.
If you're fighting Mace, you go unlimited power.
Yeah, pretty much. Right, so going on for more questions. It's kind of pushing on time now, isn't it? So we'll probably. How are you guys on time?
I'm good, man.
Good. Okay.
I'm still here.
Do you make any sound
the
effects,
questions.
Bella, when you play the game? Well, I know you're into ships, so you go. Whoa.
I
Pew 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 pew.
I have to
Gotcha.
switch it off when B2 is or Base is using his machine gun. That's too much for me. But sometimes I just switch the music off and listen to Star Wars music like Battle of Endor or Imperial March or something. That's quite cool.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Cool. Our next question that we've got is from Padawan Gaming. So this is a question that's going again back to the Maul and Rex that we've got. So do you guys think with the Maul Zeta coming, do you think that Rex will come back? Yes, I think Rex has already got his presence with all the Vader at the moment, and I think that it's just going to enforce him more in this current meta, because if people are running Vader and they're running Maul's automatically going to crit when they open, so that's going to feed into a Rex lead. What's your guys' thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, Rex is still a really viable character, and I think with all even. I mean, he's really, really, really good. I think that makes total sense. I don't think Rex is going away anytime soon, just because of what he can do, and especially a counter to all this dark side stuff. He is a character you can run and take full advantage of that. You just have to be careful. You know, there are counters to Rex with like B2 and stuff like that, so you just have to, But I still think he's a good tune.
I guess the thing is with the Maul Zeta is it's a hybrid between a Darth Vader Zeta and a Rebel team, because you're going to have the crits, and they both feed into Rex, because Rex is all round versus crits and debuffs. You can't get any really better than that from a leadership that's able to compete with two metas, and mostly the arena is either crit based or debuff based. Rex lead does both of them. He's the counter. So he's still going to be the ultimate counter, but Rex can still be beaten on defense, even though he gets his tenacity up. But on the offense, he's going to do the job against these teams easily with all that turn meter that your team's getting. You're going to be able to ability block Nihilus as quick as possible with Boba Fett. So yeah, I'd guess that you would use it as offensively. So that's what's going to be good. And hopefully, this would be a great thing if you can have two separate teams. You can have a defensive team. And this may be what the Life Changers thing could be, where you can set up a defensive team and an attacking team. So you don't have to keep changing your defensive team when you attack someone. If that makes sense. That would be cool to have two, because I know there's a lot of games out there that do that already. And I was quite surprised that this game hasn't got that you can have a defensive and an attacking team. That would be great to have. So every time I attack someone don't need to see me have a Qui-Gon Jinn on Zeta lead to beat someone. Just for that extra speed or something. So it'd be pretty cool. It's like tournaments, isn't it? And that's how tournaments are.
Yeah, it's already. Yeah, it's a mechanic they can easily implement.
We won't ask Warriors feedback on that in case it's something.
We don't want to die.
Yeah, we don't want to die. Let's have a look. I'll throw a question at you why I'm looking into this. What character are you currently, or team are you currently working on?
Really, let's see. I'm kind of superficially working on Sith Trooper, because I do have 3 other really good Sith, and so I think Sith Trooper is a necessity for my Sith team. So I'm kind of having some fun there, but not really spending a whole lot of time or energy into him time on that. And then I really don't have a huge focus. I'm kind of in a holding pattern right now, just trying to hoard stuff and see what everything, how it all plays out. But, kind of still, if I get a piece of gear, a high level piece of gear from farming, through the daily challenges and stuff, and I'm able to maybe put a gold piece on Kylo Ren or something like that, I might drop one of those in, but those are kind of far and few between. But I'm really not anyone other than Sith. And then I do want to upgrade Cassian, because he's going to be farmable here in about a month. So I've only got him gear 7. I'd like to take him to gear 11, because I think he is going to come back, as an important character with all of his abilities. I've got him at gear 7 kind of. So, just a couple of little characters to kind of work on, but not really spending too much energy or effort on them, and kind of in a holding pattern.
No, definitely. What about you, Ranger?
I'm working on Ewoks. I think they're going to be great. We're going to make Ewoks great again. No, I'm kidding. I'm definitely focusing on Sith, just because I'm so sick of playing Rebels. I'm so sick of it. I want to do something different, and I finally got all my Sith. I'm working on Darth Maul. I've just about got him a few shards away from 7. I've got him geared 9, so I'm working to get him geared 10. Hopefully today I just need one more piece, and then I'm going to be focusing mainly on Sith. I'm just trying to think of which way I want to go with the team. So I'm sure me and Grant will do a video on that because I just want to get away from. I still have a decent PvP team, but I just want to get away from. I just want to use something different. So that's kind of my focus.
Definitely. What about you, Bella?
Yeah, I have several characters I'm working on. I'm working on base because I need an auto taunter dispeller.
Nice.
I'm working on Maul and JKA because I'm trying to build my raid teams. So I have I want to have better Jedi's and working on droids as well. So it's a lot.
Cool. No, it just sounds like you're definitely getting a good selection and going after.
And
the
I have
good
no
characters.
credits, not like some of you.
No, I've got my
always low.
credits saved at the minute. It's about 28 million, something like that. And I've just been saving them because that's all I want to do at the moment is just save them. Until I know that I've got my resistance ready and I've got enough for Nihilus, then I'll spend them. But at the minute, there's nothing noteworthy that I really want to waste them on because next week something else could change. We got a first order question. Have you played with the first order yet, Warrior?
Have I played with First Order? Not so much. I have Kylo Ren now to Gear 11. That's just a recent addition. I just recently got him to there, and I've had Captain Phasma at Gear 11, and I thought it would be fun to run them, but they're just under impressive without the Zeta abilities. So without those Zeta abilities, they look good, but not phenomenal. And I don't have 60 Zeta sitting around. Burning a hole in my pocket, so
yeah, definitely.
it's kind of hard to.
So, do you know on these devs accounts, don't you get like loads of fleet tokens?
So they're not really. I don't know if I want to call it a dev account. They're calling it an early release account, and I mean it's kind of like a dev account or kind of like a
beta account.
A beta account, kind of. Yeah, that's kind of what it's like, but that's not what it is. But it's called an early release account, and they're working on it. They're building it. So, like right now, I went into it because they've given me access, and I went in there, and there's horrible mods in there. For one, they don't even have good mods in there, so you really can't mod characters correctly. And then there's half the characters are missing right now. So I mean, it's a work in progress. When they get the characters in there and maxed out and all that, it's going to be amazing. But they've got to do that. They got to get everything in there, max it all out, and then I can go in there. I can get some footage of these characters for all the viewers and show them what they're capable of, and then I can get out of the account and stuff. It doesn't, obviously, I know people listen and go, "Oh, that's an unfair advantage." It's absolutely not. I mean, I don't get it on my personal account at all, and I'm showcasing everything that I'm seeing, so everybody gets to see what I see. But I have to obviously see it first because I'm building the video. I mean, there's no way for me to show you before I've built it, so it just doesn't make logical sense. So, but I'm excited that we're in that process, and it's open now to us to get some footage. We just need to go in and get that footage.
No, definitely. So the question that we had, that's why I brought up the first order to see if there was any expertise here. But the question was, the first order, the next meta. This is from Mike. He said that he saw Arnold's video using the devs beta. Honestly, I don't think there's anything that's conquering meta. I think that they got that crit immunity, haven't they, under that Phasma once they've got advantage up. But I guess it's the most of the same as most things. If you do put a more Zeta against that, Daze is going to ruin that team. They're not going to be getting that turn meter as what they're built as. So if you can get your Maul quicker than them, which is easily done by, you could easily get a Sith team. I guess that nothing's meta-proof. There are always going to be counters, and if you can stop that turn meter with Daze, and Maul's going to be your best bet. And even if they crit any of your Sith, you're going to gain stealth. So there's a pros and cons to everything, but I just don't think there's anything that's meta-proof. I think that offensively, it's kind of like a all or nothing. It's an all-out attack, same as like resistance. It's all out there. But when it comes defensively, it's a different scenario of how the AI uses it. They could start going after your strongest character instead of going after the weakest character that they could drop easily in a couple of hits. But they could decide to go for, say, General Kenobi and just start attacking him. So, yeah, it looks great.
Let's just say they're viable. I mean,
Yeah.
they're viable like every other reworked character kit or any of the characters that are in there. You could take a full First Order team and be viable in Arena, no problem. It's just a matter, do you want First Order? If you do, then they're viable, and if you don't, then move on to another viable team.
Yeah, that's it. Spot on. Let's have a look.
I think the day of having this crazily overpowered team that everybody has to have that's the meta is over. I mean,
Yeah,
it really is.
definitely over.
It's going to get more and more and more the case of more balance, more balance, more balance, and there's going to be more and more and more viable teams, and it'll at that point be who do you want to fight? That's through the balancing that they're trying to do is that every character be played. So when you go in here into the Star Wars universe, you get to see your favorite characters, farm them, build a team, and they're viable.
Definitely. We've got a mod pack question, and this is from John. So, speaking about mods, now that tournaments are done for a while, and I want to try and build this into a two-part question on the ally points and tournaments. So the mod packs, what is going to happen with them? Are we going to see them again? Are they going to bring them back? What is your opinions on that?
I think so. I mean, they seem pretty popular. I don't know why they wouldn't do it. I do think that, yeah, I would hope so. Nothing I've seen or read says otherwise, so that's kind of where I'm leaning.
Yeah. Definitely. On this, Warrior, or do you have a personal opinion? I believe they'll come back.
On the mod packs, as far as I faded for a second. Is it that they're coming back, or are they coming back? What was the question?
Do you think they'll re-release them because normally they were with tournaments?
Yeah, I think they're going to find a time and a place to drop them that'll be appropriate, and they'll probably only come occasionally, like once a month type thing. I don't honestly know the answer to that, but I don't think they're going to go away forever. I think they were integral. People loved them. It was, income for them. So I think they're going to bring them back. They're just probably trying to find the timing, like when should we and all that. I mean, there's so much they have to work on. So I think we'll see them again.
That brings me on to ally points. What is it? Sorry, do apologise. Bella, was there any input you wanted to put on the...
I was just thinking that they might have tried to test the price or the crystals in Japan. Like, if people will buy them for 999 crystals.
I think the Japan thing is a little bit different because you get to choose. I guess I've seen a lot of deals that they've got that look a lot better than the deals that we get. But I've seen some worse deals that they've had when we've had better deals. I guess the only problem when you do region-based stuff is someone's going to get a better deal somewhere. It always seems to be the issue or the case, but I don't know why they've got mods. But they get to choose their mods. So the packs that I've seen that they have in Japan currently is that they've got the speed mods, they've got the critical damage mods, and they're all in separate packs. But I believe that the rates of them that they drop, and they only have a certain amount, so it's kind of like a wheel of fortune. It's going to give you whatever it shows on screen, and you say there's 20 mods, and it'll say that you can only get a gold 5-dot triangle 5 times, and then once you've got it once, it crosses it off or something, and it goes down to 4. That's what I've seen, but again, it's the language barrier. I can't read Japanese, so I've had it translated for me. But that's how it appears.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess I don't know what that price is. 999. Will people buy it? Probably, because it's mods. Everyone needs mods, I guess. It's a ever-ending thing. With new characters, you need more mods. That's it. Pretty much there. So, ally points with tournaments gone for now. What are you doing with your ally points? Are you spending them, or are you saving them like me and waiting that they bring something else and be ahead of the curve? Who wants to go
I'm
first?
still saving them. So, I mean, I've got metric ton of them. I don't know. They said in the near future, there's nothing coming in the near future, so they're reworking them. So I don't know the right answer to this. I don't think you're wrong if you are saving them, but I don't think you're wrong if you spend them either. You know, now they have. What are they removed it from the GW and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So it's it's one of those things where you just have to kind of think about it. I would say hold on to them unless you're hurting for gear, because you never know when they're going to flip it and use them for something. But then again, if they're not, the near future could mean so many many different things. Is that 1 month, 3 months, 6 months? So I don't know really the right answer. For me, I'm a little bit more cautious. So I'm saving them. Why not?
Because
we're really, what are you going to get for them? Low level gear. Maybe a character that,
shards, yeah.
But for me, I already have all the character shards that you can possibly get with Bronzium. So it's like, what am I really gaining from this?
Yeah.
I mean, one of those quality of life things would be, you just say, all right, I'm going to spend all 360,000 and give me all the gear and loot from it, instead of having to click it again and again and again, or be able to do like a certain amount at a time instead of having to do one over and over and over again. So, that's another thing why I'm like, do I really want to sit here for 2 hours and just keep hitting refresh, do it again, do it again. So I don't know. I'd rather just save them instead of go through the headache.
See, I think they will bring out that you can spend all. I do think that will be something that could be part of the quality of life for two reasons: that they do and probably are planning to bring something back with alloy points, but at the minute there's too many people accumulating them because everyone's been going after them. So if they bring out a function that then changes that, like you can just all spend it, it's going to entice people to spend all their alloy points, and then further down the road, when if they do bring tournaments back, they want it so it's like a fresh start. You don't want people hoarding loads of alloy points for the next 6 months at all. You want them to be spending it, so when they bring out a new feature, you're like, oh no, I've got to go and get all these alloy points again. I've got to go and get them, and you've then got to work towards getting more. In my opinion, I'm saving them because when somebody says something, they could mean the opposite. So when someone says that they have no plans, they may not tell you the full plan, so there could be an inkling of they're going to do something, but they're not going to say, yes, we're going to be bringing them out in 6 months' time. That's when we're probably looking, or we're going to bring out a new feature that requires alloy points. So more or less, there could be something of a new function, but they're not. No business is going to disclose the whole business plan of what they expect to do in 3 months' time. So is it hurting to hold on to them? No. Could it hurt you in the long run of spending them? Then yes. You could look back and you'd be like, oh, I wish I never spent them. If you remember when the tournaments were changed from crystals, there was a post where it did say they have no kind of plans to use alloy points. 2 weeks later, bam, that was the new currency of the new tournaments. So what someone says, be cautious. If you're here for the long time, the duration, then there is no huge benefit to you to go and buy get all these characters with your alloy points. There is no real huge benefit unless, like Ranger said, you need shards or you want something from the shard shop. Then that's probably the best thing to do, but it's totally down to yourself. What I'm doing, I'm saving because it's not going to hurt me. I'm saving them and sitting on them. If I'm wrong, I can spend them in the future. But if I'm right and I've spent them, I can't get those alloy points back. What's your thoughts on it, Warrior?
Well, I just don't want to have to sit there for 3 hours and click a button, so I haven't spent mine. But I'm inclined to say if you're a lower level character, somebody who's relatively new in the game, 4 months or less, use them. Why not? You're going to unlock those characters you're looking for, and you're going to get the low level gear you're needing. But if you're high level like us, it's pointless. I already have all the characters. Why would I waste my 3 hours clicking to get stuff I already have? It gives me shard shop currency, but I already have like 80,000 shard shop currency. So what's the point? So for someone like me, it makes no sense. But for other people who are lower level who need to get a B2, they might unlock the B2. So, and to be honest, if they did launch tournaments tomorrow and you didn't have any ally points, I mean, as a free to play with 50,000 ally points, what are you really going to achieve? Not much, not a whole lot more than you would have with none, because when they bring it back, they'll bring ally points back. So I don't know. I think if you're lower level or mid level, it's worthy to just spend them. But if you're not, then just save them. Why not? It's like that. But it's almost 10. I got to get out of here, you guys. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we're going to
bail.
close up
But
now as well. So,
awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll stick around for the close then.
okay, cool. So, where can we find you, Warrior?
You can find me on my YouTube channel and on Twitter as well. But my YouTube channel is Warrior from Team Instinct. So yeah, check me out there.
Yeah, so his link is in the description. So that's where you're going to be able to check his channel out, subscribe. He does great quality videos. If you want a guy that's like myself, goes into detail, gives their opinion, then Warrior is a guy it's worth checking out his videos. He's got some great videos. He's going to give you his true opinion. None of this kind of like, he'll give you what he thinks, and that's the great thing about Warrior. He's going to tell you exactly what he's thinking, and he's going to say it in the video. If someone that he thinks is good, he'll tell you if he thinks they're good. If he thinks they're going to be bad or not for you, then he'll be honest with you. So he has some great videos, and I watch him all the time. He's probably the only actual other Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes YouTuber that I actually watch. There's a few that I watch here
gee,
and there.
thanks.
Well, I can't watch myself, can I? On Reality Skewed Gamers. That'd just be a bit weird now, wouldn't it? But yeah, if you want to check Warrior out, do it. Please do. He's great. He takes up his time here as well. Before his work, comes here to hang out with us all. Ranger, where can we find you?
I don't know. You kind of hurt my feelings. I have the feels down. I don't know if I want to say anything.
Okay, well,
I,
okay,
I, I
we'll
watch.
pass
I
it
watch.
then.
I watch all your videos, Smithie.
Yeah, but if I watched your
Turkey.
videos, I'd hear myself
I
speaking.
I
I'm
know. I
there.
know.
I'm present with you.
Now you can find us at Reality Skewed Gamers on YouTube. We have Twitter, Facebook. We have our own page, which you can find in every video that we put out. We stream every Wednesday, with of course Smithie D joining us. We get a bunch of characters, cast of characters on there. We have a blast. We had, good lord, we had over a 2-hour stream on Wednesday because of all these drops. I think the devs really like us because they keep dropping this stuff right before we start streaming. But we are working on other things. I know we were going to try to do PvP and ships last week, streaming that. But real life things kind of came up, so we're going to try to get that done this weekend. So stay tuned. So we're working on it. It just sometimes conflicts of schedules and things happen. But yeah, come check us out. Definitely every Wednesday. We got that in lockdown. We're just trying to get the other stuff launched. And you can come see Smithie and some other famous YouTubers on there like Urban Blaster, who's a hoot. Of course, got Finity and Grande and myself. And yeah, and this next coming Wednesday, we are doing the draft again. So we had a blast with it last time. Everybody loved it. So we're going to do another draft for squads with a bunch of people and take it from there. So that's it for us.
Was that the fantasy draft that you did before, where
Yeah.
I come onto the live stream and I'm like,
No. That was just us putting together teams, who we thought would be in each position. This one is where you haven't seen it before. We basically, like the NFL, we were drafting players to fit into like a 5-man team, right?
yeah.
So me, Grande, Lampshade, and Finn did a draft, and we all picked our teams, and it was a hoot because we were always, at the time we were taking like the best possible character, so the teams were totally different than you normally see because you couldn't just form your own team the way you wanted it. So just like the NFL draft, there's only one possible draft per round, so you had to be really creative and think about who you wanted to pick and the team. So that's what we're going to do again, and it's a lot of fun. So if you want to come check it out, we'll be on Wednesday, plus answering all your questions and talking about the latest Star Wars Galaxy Heroes news and stuff like that.
Cool. Looking forward to it, as I do every Wednesday. So, Bella, any plans of opening up a YouTube channel?
Oh my! You asked me just last week.
I ask you every week. What are you doing?
Yeah, playing the game.
But you should make a channel. Everyone in here, you think Bella should make a channel? Say please or yes. Vote for Bella.
They all left Smithie.
No, they're all still there. So You should do a channel, definitely. I think you should do some great videos, and especially you're going to help all the guys because you've got me and Warrior that are more of the higher tier. Then we've got yourself, you're still in the building, you're doing great in ships, and you love ships. You should definitely, that is definitely a place on the market. Go onto YouTube and type in starships. You're not going to find much for Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. At the moment, it's quite an empty void. There's only a couple of people that cover it in great detail, and I think you should. That is definitely a market right there, is starships.
Mhm.
Yes, I like chips. And actually, yeah, that's an idea.
Definitely is. I would do it, but I'm useless when it comes to ships. I don't have them all. So I only know the ones that I've got. And it might be good for me because it does the job for me, but bad for somebody else. And they're not easy to get. Like First Order TIE Pilot. It's just difficult to farm because he's on hard nodes. But I'm trying to do more and more ship stuff, but it is very, very difficult. So that is it, guys. I want to thank everybody for being here with us today, guys, and really coming back for each week that we do this stream. We're here every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern or whatever time it works out into the area that you are. So a big thank you to both Warrior, to Ranger, to Wink, and Bella for joining us today. I'm the Smithie D. May the Force be with you always.